All right, here we are. We're at the job site. We're going to do a little lighting maintenance today. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how we're going to take care of that. I'll show you a little bit about the job, and let's do it. Come on. Okay, so here we are. Let me tell you a little bit about the job, what's taken place over the past couple days. I've been out here, and this job here is a redo. It's about a 20-year-old project from what I've heard from the homeowner. I was called out basically to repair, replace, and get things back up and running again. So we're not putting in new fixtures necessarily. There may be a couple, but overall it'll be just existing products. And I'm going to take all those products out, which you can see down below here, and going to basically restore those as best I can and clean them up. I'll show you those processes, and then we'll relamp them also with new retrofit LED products. Okay, so here we are. We're getting ready to do some maintenance, some cleaning of these old fixtures. Today I've got a couple uplight fixtures that will run through. Now these are, remember, this is about a 20-plus-year-old project. So this here is an old FX RS20 uplight fixture. And you can see the old style wing nut that they used to use. They have a slip-on glare shield. So I'm going to take these apart. I'm going to show you the different components and what I'm going to clean up and try to repair. Some of the things we'll need is a cleaning solution. I happen to be using a simple green product that's concentrated. It works really well towards cleaning up and taking off grime and the extra problems that we face with this. I've got a tool bag, and most guys carry some form of bag or tools somehow, but I tend to work with a bag like this. So on the tool bag, again, I've got all kinds of different, I found channel locks are awesome. They're always a good tool to have to get around these larger components, knuckles and things like that, so you can dismantle. Pruning shears of some sort, very handy, especially when you're cutting fixtures out from plant growth. Various screwdrivers, these all are my straight slot screwdrivers here. And then I have all my Phillips head screwdrivers on this side. Again, you can arrange your bag however you want, but I'd recommend having different sizes, you know, whether it's this size or this size. You know, you have the option to work with small little independent components within the light fixtures. You'll need different size tools. I have a pair of needle nose pliers. I've got crimpers. Because I do occasionally use butt splices, and then I'll seal those. And again, the lighting shrink product has that same basic deal where they've got butt splices, but they've got the heat shrink component, so it seals it off and waterproofs them. These are not; these are just basic plastic coverings on the butt splices. So then I have to manually treat it, and I use something along this lines, liquid electrical tape, if depending on where the components are. So, and that will help to seal off those butt splices too. I've got these little nut drivers. These are handy to have, especially on some of the old fixtures. They'll use. It's hard, you almost have to have midget hands in order to get inside these fixtures. So if you have these types of tools, just like a car, you know, you can't get into all these little crevices, so you need certain tools to do that. I have different electrical tapes for, you know, identification and or wrapping things, and my spare parts in bags, you know, like I've got screws. You know, you can deck these bags out however you want if you want to have special containers and such. The idea is just having stuff with you so you're not wasting time. So it's a good overall handy bag to work with. And then I have another tote carrier that I'll work with that, again, carrying some of the cleaning products, towels, I've got miscellaneous gaskets. I've got socket assemblies. Sometimes I'll throw in my LEDs, retrofits, and then I'll have lighting shrink, the heat shrink connectors, which are awesome, and my torch. So anyways, enough to get by on doing these simple type of projects. So let's go ahead and start taking it apart. Let's start with the FX fixture, and I'll show you the different components. As you can see, you know, again, I cut this out. This is the wire lead that feeds up through the assembly and pops on the inside. Socket, here's the old style halogen lamp that was in the system. So we'll get rid of that, and let's just go ahead and dismantle this. So you can see on this knuckle assembly here, there's no stake on it right now. And this looks to be in pretty decent shape, this socket. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this. I'm not going to change this out. And then you can see here too, this is the silicone O-ring that fits around here for a compression fit to hold the lens cap on. This looks in good shape. Again, FX uses like solid silicone O-rings, so we'll work with that. And then I'll just take this apart, the lens cap with its shroud, and it's just got a little set screw on it to loosen up the old style cap. There we go. So then you can pull the lens right out, or the lens cap, which fits right on. So now towards cleaning, real simple and easy. We'll just kind of get this all cleaned up, and then we'll lubricate the O-ring. Now if you want to go to the extreme of taking off the screw and the nut and maybe lubricating those, you can. I don't tend to go that deep into it on this, but that's something you can do if you prefer. And what I'm looking for on this lens cap, I want to make sure that the lens cap is actually sealed, still in place. These are siliconed inside the cap. This product here, FX, is an aluminum alloy. One thing that was good with FX, I started with them back over 20 years ago. That was one of my first products I used. And they treat their metals really well. They have a 2 or 3 step process to seal the metals beforehand, which is nice. Let me pull out some added tools here. I'll show you what I will do sometimes. I've got chisels in here, and you can see on here sometimes there's water, like calcification from the irrigation, so we can go ahead and use a nice chisel or some sort of a knife scraping edge to get that off. Some guys like to use CLR, a chemical product. It's a little toxic. I prefer not to work with toxic materials too much if I don't have to. So something like this should do a pretty good job. Well, it's still got a little gunk on there, but it's almost 100% back to normal. And this is something I recommend you doing or have the homeowner do if you have lighting systems that are from year to year. Go out and actually maintain these fixtures by cleaning them. And part of this process, you'll find different parts of the country, different types of water sources will be a little more damaging, or at least leave these deposits. Not that it's going to hurt much, but it will cut down on output performance. or it will soften the look, which is okay too. So it's up to you. So there you go. It's almost back to a normal state, and the silicone looks good. I'm pushing on it. It's not popping the lens loose, so that should be good to go, holding in place. Another thing sometimes with these old fixtures, you'll notice I'm not cleaning on the inside of this one, but we got lucky here. Sometimes these will be filled up with dirt or worm castings, nests of different types from wasps. I mean, you'd be surprised at what gets in here. Usually it's more ant related. These are smaller holes, but you know, whatever can get in there. So you can see that's more or less clean. I mean, it's faded. It's not bad for a 20-year-old product. I mean, you're not going to have a perfect paint condition on these things, but it's held up really well. And even with some scrapes on here, it's not corroded and causing any problems. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this silicone O-ring and we're going to basically lubricate it so that it maintains its elasticity. What I'm using here, there's all kinds of different products out there, but I just happen to use a general purpose white lithium grease that you can get at most auto stores, you know, repair stores and so on. This is Stay Lube is the product, and you just basically can use this on any rubber parts or silicone, and what it will do is basically you know, extend the life of them so they're not snapping. And not that, like I said, this one, look at that, it's been around 20 years and it's still holding up excellent. So it's messy. So that's that. Now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and install a retrofit LED. I happen to use Brilliance LEDs, although there's Emery Allen, which is an excellent product also. And I've just been with Brilliance for many years, and I've been happy with the products that I'm using. So here's it looks like the old style, let me show you here. If you remember, here's the old halogen lamp that everybody used to use, old school, and then here's your new LED retrofit, same thing. So I'll just pop this in to the socket. Again, it's holding well. There's no corrosion or degradation problems in there. Let's get this lens cap put back on. See how easy that just slides on now because of the grease. And let's do one more thing here while I've got this. I've got the super secret Avalon sealant oil. That's what it is. And actually, it can be olive oil, it can be vegetable oil, whatever it is. I don't know if there's any products out there that guys are using right now, but the beauty of using an oil like this, especially on copper and aged brass, is it shines them up, makes them look like they're brand new. And I can show you an example of that on one that's already installed, but let me just go ahead and coat this just a little bit, just so you can kind of see. It might not show a ton of difference on the aluminum here being powder coated, but it'll help. And the copper and the brass, it really stands out real nice. So, and what it does is it helps on water too, like when it rains, you're gonna keep a nicer finish, clean look. And again, you don't have to go to this extreme, but if you're trying to do a maintenance as a regular service and you want to impress your customers, then I would recommend doing. Now look at that, looks a lot better now, nice and clean. So we'll do the same thing on the shield. and then we'll be pretty much done with this guy, besides putting the stake on and connecting the secondary wiring. Again, this is oil, so get ready. It's going to get all over your hands, your clothes. It's a little messy, but again, does a nice job. Or you can just call me and I'll sell you a bottle of super secret Avalon oil for you. All right. Let's put this, tighten this back up. There we go. And then last but not least, the knuckle assembly here. All right. And then we got to feed the wiring back down through the knuckle before attaching it, obviously. Some of the newer knuckles have an added gasket or an O-ring or something in there to help keep moisture out. Let me show you that real quick. This doesn't. This was an old school model, so they didn't have one back then. But the other thing you can do, let's do that while we're here. I like to, even though these are standing mostly in an upright position, shining upwards, I still like to put silicone inside the base of the knuckle here to where the wiring feeds. That will help to keep ants out and also any added moisture, water problems and whatever. You know, it won't be 100%, but it'll help a lot. And if you want to go to another extreme, you can. I just did that upper assembly section of the fixture, and you can also do at the base down here if you want. I'll go ahead and do that at the same time. Now you've got double whammy. Sometimes these fixtures, depending on manufacturer, they will have like a gasket or a plug that fits in there, a rubber plug. Sometimes they'll pre-fill them with silicone, or they'll use some sort of a sealant of some sort to block that out for that reason. So there you go. That's ready to go. All we got to do is put connectors on here. Again, we'll use the lighting shrink to waterproof those, and then we can put, if we want to put it on a riser assembly, or if we want to just put it directly onto a stake, we can do that too. Okay, so there you have it. We're all wrapped up on the cleaning, basic cleaning for these light fixtures. Again, not all of products that you're going to find are going to be retrofit style. You may have integrated LEDs, so you won't have to worry about those internal components necessarily, unless the whole unit goes bad. Some people may want to keep the old halogen lamps instead of these newer retrofits. So that's something to consider. But you've seen the basic process. What I would recommend for you guys that are working with 1 or 2 or 3 different product lines, get very familiar with these products. Take them apart completely so that you know how they are assembled. Because this is critical for later when you are out there maintaining systems and you want to be able to work quickly to get things taken care of. You want to make sure you have the right tools in place, the right cleaning supplies, the extra materials that you will need, whether they're gaskets, O-rings, shields, screws, you know, whatever. All these parts are important so that you're not wasting time on a job site. Okay, so if you like this video, stay tuned. We've got plenty more coming. We'll see you soon.